Ready.
Tekken may let you have a panda fight a raptor with boxing gloves, but this fighting game by Rare has a raptor fight a werewolf and a cyborg fight a skeleton. Now at last, I take a look at the first game in this series that has produced a surprisingly low amount of sequels. It's Killer Instinct for the Super Nintendo Entertainment System. Killer Instinct is a 2D fighting game where fighters compete in a tournament much like Mortal Kombat, except this tournament is hosted by a giant corporation that enters its own experimental creatures to fight trained humans and each other. It's how they explain an American boxer fighting a dude made of fire. It's actually a cool concept that leaves a lot of room for brutal fights with imaginative characters and plenty of sequels, which makes it more surprising that there's only ever been 3 games in this series. This game was originally introduced to people in October of 1994 in arcades before Rare ported it to the Super Nintendo the following year. That said, the visuals have Rare's handiwork all over them. The characters are rendered in a way that they pop out against the 16-bit backgrounds with a great balance of darkness and color to match the game's tone. That really shines in the visual design of the stages, like when you get the skeleton to fight the werewolf on either one of their stages for some cool, gothic Halloween theming, complete with animation that meets the standards of 1994 and runs at a decent frame rate. While voice acting is limited, there is more of it than I was expecting from a game that came out in between 2 Donkey Kong Country games. There's a sinister sounding announcer to get you into the combat, and all the fighters have their own sets of fitting voice blurbs for throwing and taking hits. The sound effects are of a mid-90s comic book style, and the music, while high energy, leans more in the direction of that dark, Mortal Kombat-esque tone. The combat mechanics for Killer Instinct should be quickly familiar to fighting game enthusiasts. You have different types of punches and kicks, with some being fast but weak, or slow but strong, along with combos to pull off special moves. But with my limited skill in 2D fighters, I always seem to pull off those special moves purely by accident. I did like that you can swap buttons around in the options menu, but I didn't like that blocking was done by moving the control stick away from your opponent, just like Power Rangers Battle for the Grid. I just think that blocking works better with an actual button press. I think what I love about this game is the creativity of the fighters and their abilities. The Halloween fan of me favored the skeleton and the werewolf, while the Jurassic Park fan of me favored the raptor. And like I said before, a match like this on this stage? Great way to celebrate Halloween anytime. Really all the stages have great theming despite their simplicity. But I kinda wish they had stage hazards to go with each theme. I feel like I should be able to kick someone off a roof, for example. I guess we can't all be Mortal Kombat. You could either play this in 2-player mode with a friend, or by playing the single-player mode, you can fight a series of bots. Either way, an interesting thing about this game is that when you knock out all of your opponent's health, you don't regenerate before your next round. He or she goes to their next health bar, and that's the one you have to drain to finish the fight. But you'll go to your next health bar if your opponent drains your first one. It actually helped me better gauge how I was doing in a fight and see where I needed to improve. I needed a lot of those lessons because normal mode is actually pretty hard, especially if you're not great at 2D fighters to begin with. I'm only partially ashamed to admit that I had to use the NSO rewind feature a lot for normal mode. Thankfully, you can adjust the difficulty of the arcade mode in the options menu before starting a playthrough. Once I did that and finally understood the mechanics better, that's when the game got easier. So if you play this, I do encourage you to do this for training before you take on tougher bots or real opponents. Unless you're already a 2D fighting game expert, Mr. or Mrs. Perfect.
No problemo.
Shut up, you suck at this game too.
Fuck you.
While I understand how this game never quite caught on the same way that Mortal Kombat or Street Fighter did, I now see firsthand why people who are fans of this game love it. It does earn the right to be called a cult classic, and now you can play it for free on the go through Nintendo Switch Online, which I suggest you do if you like retro fighting games. Or buy the SNES cartridge version if you still have a working system, and you don't mind dropping $15 or $20 for a used copy. Well, that's my review of Killer Instinct for the Super Nintendo Entertainment System. To help me produce more videos like this, please support my Patreon page. Special thanks to my current patrons here. Remember that supporting my Patreon gets your name in the credits and access to my flagship videos a full day early. Also be sure to watch my previous reviews of these Nintendo Switch fighting games, Mortal Kombat 1 and Power Rangers Battle for the Grid, as well as the follow-up review of Power Rangers, since they added a lot more to that game after its initial release. See you all next time!
Danger.